Imagine walking into a Midwest farm where a tractor built 50 years ago starts on the first turn, while a modern machine worth hundreds of thousands sits waiting for a technician. That still happens today. Across America's Corn Belt, thousands of farmers refuse to retire these legendary workhorses, not because they can't afford newer tractors, but because these classics keep proving their value every planting and harvest season. Here are the 10 classic tractors that earned the Midwest's trust and never gave it back. Number 10. Allis-Chalmers 190 XT. When the Allis-Chalmers 190 XT arrived in 1964, Midwest farmers immediately noticed that it offered something many competitors did not: impressive horsepower at a price that made sense. At a time when farms across states like Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Minnesota, and Wisconsin were steadily growing larger, producers needed a tractor capable of handling wider tillage equipment and larger planters without moving into the cost of the biggest models on the market. The 190 XT fit that role almost perfectly. Powered by a turbocharged 301 cubic inch diesel engine, the tractor produced roughly 93 PTO horsepower, making it one of the first widely successful production row crop tractors to use turbocharging. That extra power allowed farmers to pull larger implements while maintaining good fuel efficiency for its era. The tractor's 6-cylinder engine also developed strong low-end torque, meaning it could continue pulling through heavy clay soils or damp fields without constantly shifting gears. The Power Director transmission became one of the tractor's defining features. It gave operators a high and low power shift without using the clutch, allowing smoother operation during changing field conditions. For planting, cultivating, and heavy tillage, that flexibility reduced operator fatigue throughout long Midwest workdays. Another reason these tractors remain respected is their straightforward mechanical design. Most repairs can still be completed with ordinary shop tools. Replacement parts remain widely available through aftermarket suppliers and collectors, and the tractor avoids the complicated electronics found in modern equipment. Many Midwest farmers continue maintaining them on their own farms instead of relying on dealership service calls. Although later tractors became larger and more technologically advanced, the 190 XT established a reputation for dependable field performance that has lasted for decades. Even today, restored examples continue working during planting, haying, and grain operations throughout the Midwest, proving that practical engineering often survives far longer than changing technology. Number 9. Case 1070. Introduced in 1970, the Case 1070 quickly became one of the most important tractors for expanding grain farms across America's Midwest. Agriculture was changing rapidly during the early 1970s. Larger acreages demanded more horsepower, yet farmers still needed machines that could spend long days pulling chisel plows, field cultivators, discs, and grain drills without becoming difficult to maintain. The 1070 answered those demands with a naturally aspirated 451 cubic inch 6-cylinder diesel engine, producing approximately 100 PTO horsepower. Instead of chasing maximum speed, Case focused on delivering steady pulling power where farmers needed it most. Whether working deep black soils in Illinois or heavier clay ground in Ohio, the tractor earned respect for maintaining consistent power under heavy draft loads. One feature operators especially appreciated was the power shift transmission, which allowed gear changes under load without stopping the tractor. During fieldwork where soil conditions constantly changed, this saved time and kept equipment moving efficiently. For many farmers, fewer interruptions translated directly into greater productivity during narrow planting and harvesting windows. Comfort also improved significantly compared to earlier generations. The platform offered better visibility, improved controls, and a quieter operating environment, helping operators remain productive during the 12 to 16-hour days that are common during Midwest planting seasons. Perhaps the biggest reason the 1070 continues to have loyal owners today is durability. Its heavy cast construction, strong rear axle, and robust drivetrain were designed for continuous agricultural use. Thousands accumulated well over 10,000 operating hours before requiring major engine work, provided routine maintenance was followed. Even though newer Case IH tractors now feature GPS guidance, computerized hydraulics, and electronic engine management, many family farms still keep a Case 1070 available for grain augers, mowing, tillage, hauling wagons, and backup field work. Its reputation was earned through decades of dependable service rather than advertising claims. Number 8. International Harvester 1066. Few tractors symbolize Midwest farming, quite like the International Harvester 1066. Introduced for the 1971 model year, it arrived during a period when American grain production was expanding rapidly, and farmers required dependable high-horsepower equipment capable of handling increasingly demanding workloads. At the heart of the tractor was International Harvester's DT414 turbocharged diesel engine, producing around 125 engine horsepower. More importantly, the engine developed exceptional torque, allowing operators to continue pulling heavy implements without dramatic losses in speed whenever field conditions became difficult. The 1066 gained an almost legendary reputation because of its balance. It offered enough horsepower for serious tillage while remaining compact enough for row crop work, planting, hauling grain wagons, and powering PTO equipment. Many Midwest farms relied on a single 1066 for nearly every major seasonal task. Its 8-speed transmission with torque amplifier provided additional flexibility in changing field conditions. Although the torque amplifier required proper maintenance and could become a repair item if abused, operators who used it correctly appreciated its ability to reduce ground speed without completely stopping field operations. The tractor's simple mechanical fuel system also contributes to its lasting popularity. Without computers or electronic controls, diagnosing engine problems remains relatively straightforward. Independent repair shops and experienced farmers can still rebuild these engines decades after production ended. Another reason the 1066 remains common today is the enormous availability of replacement parts. Because International Harvester sold thousands across North America, aftermarket manufacturers continue producing everything from engine components to sheet metal and interior parts, making restoration practical even 50 years later. Travel through Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, or Wisconsin during planting season, and it is still possible to find International 1066 tractors actively working fields rather than sitting in museums. Their continued presence reflects the trust Midwest farmers placed in machines that consistently performed year after year. Number 7. Oliver 1855. Although Oliver disappeared as a tractor brand after becoming part of White Farm Equipment, the Oliver 1855 remains one of the most respected tractors ever built for Midwestern agriculture. Introduced in 1969, it represented the final years of one of America's oldest and most innovative tractor manufacturers. The tractor was powered by the Waukesha Oliver 310 cubic inch 6-cylinder diesel engine, delivering approximately 92 PTO horsepower. Early engines developed a reputation for certain reliability issues, particularly when pushed beyond factory specifications or improperly maintained. However, tractors that received the recommended updates and proper maintenance proved capable of delivering many years of dependable service. Because of this history, many surviving 1855s have already had the necessary improvements performed, making them reliable working tractors today. Farmers appreciated the over-under Hydra power transmission, which effectively provided 3 speed ranges under load without stopping the tractor. This feature helped operators match ground speed precisely to varying soil conditions, reducing unnecessary engine strain and improving overall efficiency during fieldwork. The 1855 also earned praise for operator comfort. Its controls were logically arranged, steering remained light, visibility around the tractor was excellent, and the ride quality compared favorably with many competitors of the late 1960s. During long planting and cultivating days, these advantages became noticeable. One reason Oliver tractors continue attracting loyal owners is their fuel efficiency. Many operators reported that the 1855 completed demanding fieldwork while consuming less diesel than several competing tractors with similar horsepower. That mattered greatly during the fuel price increases of the 1970s. Today, collectors certainly appreciate the Oliver 1855 for its distinctive meadow green paint, but many Midwest farmers value it for something much simpler. It still performs useful work. Whether baling hay, pulling grain wagons, operating augers, or handling moderate tillage, the Oliver 1855 continues proving that careful maintenance and sound engineering can keep a classic tractor productive for generations. Number 6. Ford 9600. When Ford introduced the Ford 9600 in 1972, it marked the company's serious entry into the high-horsepower row crop market. Midwest farms were growing larger every year, and many farmers needed a machine capable of pulling wider field cultivators, heavy chisel plows, and larger grain drills without stepping into the cost of articulated four-wheel drive tractors. The 9600 became one of Ford's biggest success stories because it delivered exactly that balance. Under the hood was Ford's 401 cubic inch turbocharged six-cylinder diesel engine, producing approximately 110 PTO horsepower. The engine became known for its strong torque rise, allowing the tractor to maintain pulling power even when working through difficult soil conditions. In states like Iowa, Nebraska, and Minnesota, where heavy black soil could place enormous strain on equipment, that dependable power made a real difference during spring tillage and fall field preparation. Farmers also appreciated the tractor's relatively simple engineering. Unlike modern tractors that rely on dozens of electronic control modules, the 9600 used straightforward mechanical systems that experienced operators could diagnose and repair themselves. For many family farms, avoiding expensive dealership service calls was just as valuable as horsepower. Another feature that helped the 9600 earn Midwest respect was its roomy operator platform. Although enclosed cabs were still improving during the early 1970s, Ford provided better visibility, easier control placement, and more comfortable seating than many earlier models. Long 12-hour planting days became noticeably less tiring. Hydraulic performance also impressed operators. The tractor handled large mounted equipment efficiently while providing reliable power steering and responsive remote hydraulic outlets for pull-type implements. Its Category 2 3-point hitch gave farmers flexibility to use equipment from multiple manufacturers. Durability remains one of the biggest reasons these tractors are still found on working farms today. Many Ford 9600s have accumulated well over 12,000 operating hours with only routine engine overhauls and regular maintenance. Owners frequently describe the tractor as hard to kill, a reputation earned through decades of dependable fieldwork rather than marketing slogans. Even today, the Ford 9600 continues pulling wagons, operating grain augers, mowing roadsides, and handling secondary tillage across the Midwest. While newer tractors offer GPS guidance and computerized controls, many farmers still trust the old Ford because it starts reliably, works hard, and asks for very little in return. Number 5. John Deere 4430. If one tractor perfectly represents Midwest farming during the 1970s, it may be the John Deere 4430. Introduced in 1973 as part of John Deere's famous Generation 2 lineup, the 4430 quickly became one of the best-selling row crop tractors in North America. Even 50 years later, thousands remain in daily use, making it one of the most trusted classic tractors ever built. Power came from John Deere naturally aspirated 404 cubic inch six-cylinder diesel engine, producing about 125 engine horsepower and around 112 PTO horsepower. The engine earned widespread respect for its smooth operation, excellent fuel economy, and remarkable longevity. With proper maintenance, many examples have exceeded 15,000 operating hours before requiring major engine rebuilding. The tractor's Sound Guard body cab changed farming almost overnight. Before its introduction, operators spent long days exposed to dust, heat, engine noise, and vibration. John Deere's fully integrated cab dramatically reduced noise levels while providing heating, air conditioning, improved visibility, and better operator comfort. Many farmers who upgraded from open-station tractors considered it one of the greatest improvements in agricultural equipment during the 20th century. Mechanically, the 4430 proved equally impressive. Buyers could choose either the synchro-range transmission or the highly respected quad-range transmission, both of which became known for durability when properly maintained. The tractor's hydraulic system offered fast response and enough capacity to operate increasingly sophisticated implements appearing during the 1970s. Another reason Midwest farmers continue relying on the 4430 is parts availability. John Deere still supports many components, while a huge aftermarket industry supplies replacement engines, hydraulic parts, sheet metal, interior pieces, electrical components, and virtually every wear item imaginable. That makes keeping a 4430 operational both practical and economical. The tractor also proved extremely versatile. One day it might be pulling a 6-bottom plow. The next day it could be planting corn, mowing hay, hauling grain wagons, powering irrigation pumps, or running feed grinders. That flexibility allowed many family farms to accomplish nearly every major task with a single dependable machine. Drive through rural Illinois, Iowa, or Indiana today, and spotting a John Deere 4430 still working isn't unusual. Few tractors have earned such lasting trust, and even fewer continue proving their value after half a century of hard work. Number 4. Massey Ferguson 1105. During the early 1970s, Midwest farmers searching for dependable horsepower often looked beyond the biggest American brands and found an outstanding alternative in the Massey Ferguson 1105. Introduced in 1973, the tractor combined reliable engineering, strong pulling ability, and excellent operator comfort into a package that quickly developed a loyal following throughout the Corn Belt. Its power came from Perkins' famous A6 354 six-cylinder diesel engine, producing approximately 105 PTO horsepower. Perkins engines had already established a worldwide reputation for reliability and fuel efficiency, and the 1105 reinforced that reputation. Operators frequently praised the engine for starting well in cold weather and delivering smooth power throughout long field days. One of the tractor's biggest strengths was Massey Ferguson's multi-power transmission. This system allowed operators to shift between high and low ranges under load without stopping the tractor, providing greater flexibility while working through changing soil conditions. Whether crossing sandy ground or entering heavier clay, farmers could maintain productivity without constantly clutching or changing gears. The hydraulic system also became a major selling point. Massey's three-point hitch offered excellent draft control, making the tractor especially effective when pulling mounted plows, cultivators, and other soil-engaging implements. Farmers appreciated how smoothly the hitch responded under varying field conditions, reducing wheel slip and improving overall efficiency. Comfort was another area where the 1105 stood out. The operator platform provided good visibility, logically placed controls, and a spacious working environment that reduced fatigue during the long hours common during planting and harvest. Compared with many earlier tractors, it represented a significant step forward in everyday usability. Perhaps the greatest reason the Massey Ferguson 1105 remains respected is its balanced design. It wasn't necessarily the most powerful tractor in its class, nor the most technologically advanced, but it consistently delivered dependable performance year after year. Many owners report decades of reliable service with nothing more than routine maintenance, clutch replacements, and occasional engine overhauls. Today, countless restored and working 1105s continue serving farms across the Midwest. They pull hay equipment, grain wagons, manure spreaders, and tillage implements with the same dependable attitude that earned farmers' trust more than 50 years ago. For many operators, the Massey Ferguson 1105 represents everything a good tractor should be: simple, efficient, economical, and built to work every single day. Number 3. White 2105. By the mid-1970s, the American tractor industry was changing rapidly. Several historic manufacturers had merged, fuel prices had climbed after the 1973 oil crisis, and Midwest farmers wanted tractors that could work longer hours while using less diesel. In 1975, White Farm Equipment introduced the White 2105, a tractor that quietly became one of the most dependable machines ever to work America's Corn Belt. It rarely received the same attention as John Deere or International Harvester, but among farmers who owned one, its reputation became legendary. Power came from the Hercules D478 six-cylinder diesel engine, producing approximately 105 PTO horsepower. The engine wasn't designed to be flashy. Instead, it focused on steady torque, smooth operation, and dependable fuel economy. During long spring tillage or fall harvest seasons, operators appreciated how consistently the engine performed without overheating or excessive fuel consumption. One feature that immediately impressed farmers was White's spacious, quiet cab. During the early 1970s, enclosed cabs were becoming increasingly important as operators spent 12 to 16 hours in the field during planting and harvest. The quiet cab reduced engine noise, dust, and vibration while providing outstanding visibility in every direction. Many farmers who switched from open-station tractors considered the improvement in comfort almost as valuable as the additional horsepower. The transmission also contributed to the tractor's popularity. White offered reliable gear options that delivered smooth power to the ground while remaining relatively easy to maintain. Combined with a strong hydraulic system and dependable PTO, the tractor handled everything from heavy tillage and planting to grain augers, forage harvesters, and hay equipment. Maintenance became another reason farmers stayed loyal. The tractor's design provided good access to routine service points, making oil changes, filter replacements, and general maintenance straightforward. Many independent repair shops across the Midwest became familiar with the 2105, keeping repair costs lower than some competing models. Although White Farm Equipment eventually disappeared as an independent tractor manufacturer, the 2105 refused to disappear from American farms. Many examples have accumulated well over 10,000 operating hours and still perform regular chores today. Owners often describe them as tractors that simply go to work every morning, a reputation earned through decades of dependable performance rather than advertising. Across Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, and Kansas, the White 2105 continues proving that reliability doesn't always come from the biggest brand name. Sometimes it comes from solid engineering, careful maintenance, and a tractor built to work hard for generations. Number 2. Minneapolis-Moline G1000. Long before horsepower wars dominated American farming, Minneapolis-Moline had already built a reputation for producing powerful tractors designed specifically for large grain operations. Introduced in 1966, the G1000 became one of the company's greatest achievements and remains one of the most respected classic tractors still working across parts of the Midwest today. The G1000 was powered by Minneapolis-Moline's massive 6-cylinder engine, available in gasoline, LP gas, and diesel versions depending on the model. The diesel variant, which became the most popular among Midwest grain producers, generated approximately 100 PTO horsepower. More importantly, the large displacement engine produced tremendous low-speed torque, allowing the tractor to pull heavy implements without constantly working at maximum engine speed. Throughout the Great Plains and Corn Belt, farmers quickly discovered that the G1000 excelled at heavy draft work. Large moldboard plows, field cultivators, tandem discs, and grain drills were all well within its capabilities. Even in sticky clay soils or rolling terrain, the tractor maintained steady pulling power that operators could depend on throughout long workdays. The tractor's heavy construction also contributed to its legendary durability. Massive cast-iron components, a strong rear axle, and a rugged drivetrain allowed the G1000 to withstand years of demanding fieldwork with relatively few major mechanical failures. Many owners believed the tractor was actually overbuilt, a compliment that helped explain why so many examples remain operational decades later. Unlike some later tractors filled with electronics, nearly every system on the G1000 was mechanical. Experienced mechanics could troubleshoot fuel delivery, hydraulics, electrical systems, and drivetrain components using standard shop tools. That simplicity continues attracting collectors and working farmers alike. Operator comfort reflected the standards of the 1960s rather than today's expectations. But the tractor offered a roomy platform, responsive steering, and well-positioned controls for its era. Farmers who spent entire days plowing appreciated its stable handling and predictable performance. Although Minneapolis-Moline ceased tractor production after becoming part of White Motor Corporation's farm equipment division, the G1000 never lost its loyal following. Today it remains a familiar sight at antique tractor shows, plowing demonstrations, and even active farms where owners still trust it for tillage, hay production, and grain handling. The G1000 represents an era when tractors were built with one goal above everything else: lasting a lifetime. Judging by the numbers still working nearly 60 years later, it succeeded. Number 1. John Deere 4020. If you ask Midwest farmers to name the greatest tractor ever built, one model appears more often than almost any other: the John Deere 4020. Introduced in 1963 as part of John Deere's New Generation series, the 4020 transformed American agriculture and became the benchmark against which countless tractors have been measured ever since. More than 60 years after its debut, thousands remain in regular use, an achievement very few agricultural machines can match. Power came from John Deere's reliable 404 cubic inch 6-cylinder engine, available in both gasoline and diesel versions. with the diesel becoming overwhelmingly popular across the Midwest. The tractor delivered approximately 95 PTO horsepower, placing it in the ideal range for the rapidly expanding family farms of the 1960s and 1970s. It had enough power to pull larger tillage equipment while remaining versatile enough for planting, cultivating, mowing, baling, hauling wagons, and operating countless PTO-driven machines. One of the tractor's most revolutionary features was the optional synchro range and later power shift transmission. The 8-speed power shift, introduced during the 1964 model year, allowed operators to shift through all forward gears under load without using the clutch. At the time, this represented one of the biggest advances in tractor productivity, reducing fatigue while improving efficiency during demanding fieldwork. Hydraulic performance became another defining strength. John Deere's closed-center hydraulic system delivered fast, consistent oil flow to steering, brakes, loaders, and remote hydraulic outlets. Farmers immediately noticed smoother implement control and quicker hydraulic response compared with many competing tractors. Reliability ultimately became the reason the 4020 achieved legendary status. The engine regularly exceeded 12,000 to 15,000 operating hours before requiring major rebuilding when properly maintained. The drivetrain proved exceptionally durable, replacement parts remained widely available, and countless independent repair shops developed extensive experience servicing the model. The tractor's versatility also made it indispensable. A single 4020 could spend spring planting corn, summer baling hay, autumn pulling grain wagons, and winter feeding livestock. That year-round usefulness allowed many family farms to rely on one machine instead of several specialized tractors. Even today, across Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Nebraska, Kansas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the Dakotas, the unmistakable green and yellow John Deere 4020 continues working fields alongside tractors built half a century later. Some owners have inherited them from parents or grandparents. Others actively search auctions for clean examples because they trust a proven machine more than complicated modern technology. The John Deere 4020 didn't earn its reputation through nostalgia. It earned it one field, one harvest, and one generation at a time. That is why, after more than 6 decades, countless Midwest farmers still consider it the most dependable classic tractor ever built and the one they would choose if they could own only a single tractor for the rest of their lives. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.